minute as the combine gets underway. All the wheeling and dealing has begun. Our football crew is in the building. We got Dominique Foxworth, we got Tim Hasselbeck, and I got my insider extraordinaire, Jeremy Fowler, to start the conversation. What are we hearing about Stafford?
Greeny, NFL teams right now are at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis trying to sort this out. What is Matthew Stafford's real availability? Is he available? Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm told, are one. They have interest. New York Giants, I'm told, have a level of interest. Other teams are involved here trying to sort out what it would take. Trade compensation, package, financials, all that. But I'm told that Matthew Stafford wants to remain an LA Ram. He just needs to feel appreciated, needs to feel the love, financially get a raise on his $27 million that he's due. I'm told the Rams understand that. They're willing to do that, but to a point. This won't be a $55 million a year mega deal from the Rams, most likely. So they're going to have to find a sweet spot, or else Stafford will be exhausting his options.
And then again, we keep hearing the name Aaron Rodgers kind of hovering in the background as a possible replacement there, just as a veteran presence. Tim.
Yeah, and to that point, I would just say that's just like hey, now we're in trouble. We need somebody. You know, like to me, it's not a priority. The plan can't be, hey, we're going to go to $35 million on Stafford, and if it gets above that, then we're going to just pivot to Aaron Rodgers at 25 because that's going to help us get to where we want to go. Like there's no way that is the plan.
All right, so then let's go back to just how good Stafford is.
Yeah, listen, Stafford, and you said it yesterday about how the Rams played the Eagles. Look, I think we probably would agree. The Eagles, you're going to have to deal with the Eagles. You're going to have to deal with Detroit. Like, Matthew Stafford can play at a level still, which makes him a bit of a unicorn at 37 years old, to elevate the guys around him better to compete against those elite teams. Matthew Stafford still has amazing arm strength, and what he's way better at than he was early in his career is the command at the line of scrimmage. Much like we would give Brady and Breeze and Manning, all those guys, credit for being at the line of scrimmage, Stafford is that as well. So, look, that's why he's looking around saying, look, I deserve a raise based on how guys are playing this position.
Yeah, Nick, what he's referring to is I said yesterday, just to sort of go back to the beginning of this, and I have my own selfish motivation for wanting him to wind up on the Giants now based on Mel Kiper's mock draft. That said, to me, Nick, the idea of the Rams letting Matthew Stafford go is crazy. I think if you start identifying legitimate Super Bowl contenders in the NFC right now, Matthew Stafford leading the Rams are definitively one of them. I don't know how you let him get away.
Yeah, I think especially given how well their young defense started playing towards the end of the season, that defensive front, that they feel like a team in the NFC that has a legitimate shot. I do understand the Rams being concerned about committing too much long term to a quarterback like this at this age, because you know that the injuries are going to catch up to him at some point, and we thought we were entering an era where these quarterbacks could play until they were 40. That's clearly not the case for all other quarterbacks. I think the Rams could be concerned about the latter half of this if they have to give him some sort of extension in order to cover the big bonus or to cover his salary over the next few years. So that will be the concern, but when you're close, you think you have a chance for a title, that's a risk that I think that you have to take, and I think the Rams will eventually take.
Most of the quarterbacks making big money signed those deals prior to being 32. That's what's weird about this. I remember talking to Bill Polian when we worked together at ESPN. And he basically said, free agency, where the money goes is age and injury history. Well, Stafford's old, but he doesn't have the crazy injury history. He's been a warrior through all of the injuries. Now, listen, like you think about guys that have, so Kirk Cousins, okay, it didn't work. It was a lot of money on an older guy that had a bad injury history. Aaron Rodgers on an older guy that didn't have a ton of injury history, but it popped up. It can end up sinking you if you get it wrong. Are there outliers? Yeah. Brady, Manning, all that. There are outliers. But that's why I think the Rams are saying, well, go see what the market is then. Like, let's see what the market is saying about this. And I do think, I would just say this. Sam Darnold and Matthew Stafford are represented by the same people. So, like, in terms of knowledge and influence over the quarterback market is going to work in Stafford's favor because of that.
Talk about that, Jeremy. Talk to me about where Stafford fits in what is a pretty interesting little quarterback offseason.
Yeah, if he was available as a free agent, he would clearly be the top option despite his age and a little bit of injury history. But with Stafford, there's a little bit of concern, I feel, from teams about giving up too much. I don't sense that this would be a trade package of, say, multiple first-round picks. Maybe there's a day two package of a second or third round pick you could put together. You still have to pay him. It's going to have to be a high clip. So that's going to give teams a little bit of pause. And to your point, the Rams have some of those pauses too with the durability. That is a concern for them. So again, I still think they'll find a sweet spot somewhere. Sam Darnold can benefit, though, if Matthew can put up a big number in the next week or so.
Nick, final word.
Yeah, I was just wondering if there was any chance, like we've been talking about it, like the options is he goes somewhere else or they give him an extension. Like I was wondering if there's any chance that the Rams just kind of try to call his bluff and say, we have you under contract and you'll play for this price.
I think so, because the Rams want this done sooner than later, but that doesn't mean they're just going to throw him a bag of money and let him swim in it. Like they don't have any reason to jump ahead and get this done. Stafford wants this done. It could be a headache, but he's not a free agent. There's no deadline here. There's no roster bonus due in 2 days that triggers this thing. So there are going to be talks at the combine, but that might not actually result in anything.
But if it goes back to this point, but if your option after Stafford, okay, is not Aaron Rodgers, maybe it's Sam Darnold, which is a legitimate option. Yeah. Well, the problem is calling that bluff when they're represented by the same people is not nearly as easy.
So there are a lot of moving parts, as you can see, in all of this. One way or another, maybe it starts getting sorted out this week. In the meantime, future Hall of Famers on the Get Up on ESPN.
The level is so high. I can see it in the fans, not just the Mike Greenbergs of the world.
I am going to have that taken out of the frame, and I'm going to wear it for every game this season, and we'll leave the green one on the wall for, well, I'm going to say until the end of time.
Rodgers looks right, throws right. Stephon Gilmore picks it off. Heartbreak for the Jets.
I'm not ready to process the end of this era yet. We went into this with the highest of hopes and expectations. So, Alan, if you would do the honors.
Curtains on Aaron Rodgers' era.
Thank you.
With the Jets.
There's a lot of great memories.
Pour one out.
No.
We have decided is that we are going to allow you to decide what goes up on the wall where the Aaron Rodgers jersey has been. I put up a tweet yesterday asking for suggestions. I got well over 1,000 suggestions, and the two that stood out to me the most were people like Walter Payton and Lawrence Taylor and Joe Namath. Should we put up legends or our own regulars here on Get Up? Put up Tim Hasselbeck, put up Jay Williams, put up Tim Legler, put up our own guys. So I have a new tweet up. It's up there right now. You just saw it a moment ago. It's at ESPN Greeny on Twitter X. And you can vote. I'll leave the voting open until tomorrow morning. You can choose. Should the jersey on the wall be representative? Yeah, we can do Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, whoever it is. Or should it be Jeff Saturday, Dominique Foxworth, Damian Woody, all the people that we see here regularly? Dominique, how would you feel about having your jersey up on that wall?
Well, I mean, I don't know how we decide who would get the wall when, if it was Get Up superstars, but I think you're biasing the jury. It's like you're listing Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan and Joe Montana, and then you're saying, or Dominique Foxworth and Jeff Saturday. Like, you're not even delivering it with any enthusiasm. You want us to lose.
I heard the condescending tone as well.
There was no tone.
Yeah, I did.
There you are, my friends. You are our people. What do you want me to say?
Regulars.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try and reverse that.
Yeah.
You tell me how this sounds on TV. We could either put up Magic Johnson and Joe Montana, or we could put up Dominique Foxworth and Tim Hasselbeck.
There we go.
Does that make more sense? One way or another, cast your vote. The poll is open. It'll stay open until tomorrow morning. You'll make your decision. That's one game. Here's another. It's called Love It or Shove It. Dominique, I'll start with you. If I were to say the Rams are going to replace Matthew Stafford with Aaron Rodgers, do you love it or do you shove it?
Yeah, I'm shoving that. I think we've seen them win a Super Bowl with Matthew Stafford, and we've seen him, despite like some nagging injuries last year, have an up and down season, but play really well when it matters most. So I love the idea of keeping Matthew Stafford. I would shove the idea of going from one old quarterback to another.
Fowler, let me come to you next, and I guess I'll use this under the terms of whether this could actually happen. The Eagles being the team that trades for Myles Garrett. Love it or shove it?
Love it. The world champion Eagles, always aggressive. GM Howie Roseman making calls across the league at some of the star players. They're going to lose Josh Sweat in free agency. They need another edge rusher. That's where they win games. Defensive line. They can make a run at this, especially if the Commanders are going to try to get Myles Garrett. Expect the Eagles to try to come over the top. Make sure that doesn't happen.
Well, he might be the best defensive player in the league. If he isn't, Micah Parsons might be. And, Tim, that brings us to him. The concept of the Cowboys trading Micah instead of signing him. Do you love it or shove it?
I love the idea of trading him, and here's why. It's actually in the